Okay, so tonight's class is letting ourselves off the hook, and it's particularly to relax the mind that is conditioned to beat itself up because it must do this or should do this or shouldn't do that or should do the other. And in society, we are given lots of advice and help on how to meet society's norms, much less help on questioning society's norms and whether they're what we're going to choose. You know, as a child, when we're growing up, people don't say, look, you've got a choice here to join in with society with this or opt out. We don't get that choice, probably because the people who are bringing us up probably didn't get that choice from their parents. I think meditation gives us the opportunity to step out of the matrix, if you like, you know, step out of the whole thing. And that gives us the opportunity to go easy on ourselves, to not measure, not have to choose what we measure against. There's some habit with it, but we can start to see the absurdity in it, the absurdity in seeing it as a dogmatic fixed rule. And there's all sorts of these, you know, there's all sorts of these, and we can explore them in meditation. What are our expectations for ourselves and for others? So if we let ourselves off the hook, we can start to let others off the hook. If we don't feel like we have to be X, we start to allow ourselves to acknowledge that others don't have to be X, you know. So it works from both sides of the coin. So as a meditation teacher, I could think, well, I have to have all the answers because I teach meditation. I must never get angry, or I must never judge, or whatever it is. You know, says it. Very, very bound up in sort of Eastern religions and also Western religions that the person sort of guiding things has to be somehow morally or ethically superior or intellectually superior or spiritually superior. Why? You know, maybe it's true, maybe it's completely valid, but it's all up for grabs. It's all up for grabs. So if we're going to do a body relaxation and a breathing meditation, and then we'll come back to this topic and a meditation on it. Okay, so we can bring our awareness to this room. Notice this room that we're in. Become aware of it. Become aware of the body, the weight of it, the gravity. Can become aware of the gravity that's acting upon our body. We have all sorts of societal norms about our body, about what a perfect body is. The idea that there is a perfect body, ludicrous actually, isn't it? Ludicrous. I'm sure cavemen and cave women didn't aspire to have the perfect body. So this body is okay. It is as it is. I mean, it doesn't perform very well. It lets us down. It gets ill. It's a bit flaky. It's a bit sweaty. It's a bit itchy. It's a bit scratchy. It aches and gets stiff, and bits fall off, bits break down, bits snap. It's a very fragile vehicle. So easy for this body to die. So easy. So the expectations we have of our body may be unreasonable at whatever age we're at, and whatever society tells us we should be like, look like, dress like. And this body's going to let us down. You know, it is what dies. It will die. It will get aches and pains more and more. And it's its nature to die. The nature of this body is to die. That's its nature. What it does. It gets older, then it ceases to function. In between, there's a lot of joy we can have with it: movement, dance, pleasure, hugging, waving, all these different things. But we can't get away from the unreasonable expectations society creates regarding the body. So we can accept our body as it is right now. This body is here. It's the body we've got. We can just breathe with it and acknowledge that it gives us the opportunity to hug and caress and dance and move and feel and smell and see and touch. Now we're going to become aware of our thoughts. Now we don't know what thought's going to come next. We have no control over what thought comes next. If we're just watching our thoughts, it just, whatever comes, comes. And yet society says we shouldn't think this and we shouldn't think that, and we're bad if we think this and we're bad if we think that. Why? If we don't know what thought's coming up next and we can't control it, why should we beat ourselves up? We can have awful thoughts. Whether we act on them through our conscience is another matter. And if they're too strong and the feelings are too strong, we're impelled to act on them, even if we think a minute before I won't do it. We've all thought, well, I won't say anything, and then we say it because we're angry. So society puts burdens on us in terms of what thoughts might arise in our mind. You know, you may have thoughts that are abhorrent to society, not part of societal norms. You may have political, sexual, social, ideological thoughts come up in your mind, and they come and they go. Didn't choose them. So we can let our mind off the hook. We don't have to be this perfect spiritual person. You know, spirituality puts so many burdens on us as a process. If we accept things as they are, it's a spiritual practice. No need to try to become morally perfect. It's absurd. It's not possible. If we look around, we don't see moral perfection. We don't see in any of the 8 billion people, all the ones that have lived before. We might find the odd person who's become mythical. And we can come to our feelings and notice whatever feeling you have at the moment. And we have huge expectations about feelings. You know, it's wrong to feel anger, it's wrong to feel jealousy, it's wrong to feel frustration. It's good to feel love, it's good to feel compassion, stillness and peace. It's wrong to feel despair and doom and depression. I mean, we're changing in society at the moment in terms of mental health, which is great. But there's still this idea of wellness, of emotional wellness, that somehow if we have feelings that are unpleasant, we're flawed, we're lesser, we're not as good as, we need to be fixed, there's a problem. Accepting feelings as they are lets us off the hook from having to be this perfect feeling person. I think this burden is very deep emotionally for women. I think it's more socially acceptable for men to show a bit of frustration or angst or anger even. You know, being a good little girl and having the decorum. Feelings are feelings, they arise. We can't choose what feelings are going to arise next. And, you know, maybe for a long time as a meditator, some awful feelings are going to arise and they need to be accepted gradually and steadily as part of who we are. And then, ironically and paradoxically, they lose their power and they start to come back less. But not because we're forcing them away, but because we're accepting them and accepting ourselves. Society says, calm down, let it go over your head, don't let it bother you. Take a pill. Stop it, you're embarrassing yourself. And actually everyone has some awful feelings knocking around. We have awful feelings. We have beautiful feelings, awful feelings, and everything in between. Orange ice cream is not better or worse than coconut ice cream or rum and raisin. Who decides feelings are good and bad, better and worse? We might not like them, we might like others. We might like rum and raisin rather than coconut ice cream. It doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it bad ice cream. We've met with thoughts, feelings, and body and looked at what's here now and how it gets judged. And how we might give ourselves a hard time for what comes up. You know, we've all got mental Tourette's. We just mask it. We just hide it. We've all got mental Tourette's. We all think things that we wouldn't want to say. And we can have compassion for people with Tourette's. We can have compassion for our own mind, what it throws up. I've can have compassion for our own mind and what it throws up. If we saw somebody across the road getting beaten up, we'd feel compassion for them. We can feel the same when we catch ourselves mentally beating ourselves up. We can allow that compassion in for ourselves. Now we can relax the body. Please bring your awareness to your face. Allow your face to form whatever shape it wants to, whatever your muscles do when they're relaxed. People sort of say all this stuff about it takes less muscles to smile than to frown. No. I do what I want. I feel like frowning and frown. I feel like smiling or smile. They're not good or bad. They're natural. They're natural. Allow your muscles to be as they are and relax your face. If you feel sad, feel sad. If you feel happy, feel happy. It's all good here. Now we're going to bring our awareness to our limbs. We're going to relax our left arm by bringing our awareness to our left shoulder and scanning all the way down to the fingertips. Relaxing off any tension that we find. And the same from the right shoulder down. And the left hip, checking thigh, calf, feet and toes. Where we find tension, relax it off. And the same from the right hip down. Now bring our awareness to our shoulders and our neck, keeping our head comfortable and balanced. Imagine all the shoulds and have-tos and musts melting away from the burden they create in our shoulders and our neck, the tension they create. Now we bring our awareness into our body cavity. We imagine thick black smoke swirling around inside of us, and bound up in it is our self-cruelty. We don't need to do it. We don't need to have it. We can bring awareness to it. Notice it. But bound up is this self-cruelty. With 3 nice, steady, deep out breaths, we visualize this black smoke and our hurtful speech to ourselves, mental hurtful speech to ourselves, disappearing into the distance. After the 3rd deep out breath, we imagine all of the black smoke is gone and all of our capacity for self-hurt. Just allow yourself to be and imagine there's no capacity for self-hurt. Imagine that you're filled with self-compassion that doesn't burden you with society's norms and shoulds and have-tos. And doesn't believe and take on any criticism that might come into your head. If you can, allow yourself to feel the joy of this, the joy of completely letting yourself off the hook. Imagine that anything in your future now that comes up in your mind that's going to hurt you, berate you, criticize you, imagine that your mind is able to just let it go down the stream of thought. Now we're going to breathe in golden light. We're going to visualize breathing in sparkling golden light. And bound up in this golden light is self-kindness, acceptance of self. Acceptance, paradoxically, of our critical voice. We can't beat it up. We can accept it and let the power come out of it. We can see that it's not us. We can hear it, but we don't have to act from it. So we breathe in beautiful golden light. That's self-kindness in it. And the wisdom to see that these thoughts come and go and are not us. As you breathe in, more of this golden light permeates the body and the mind, lets it off the hook, doesn't need to fit to societal norms, shoulds, have-tos, musts. This doesn't mean that we suddenly become renegades or crazy fools. The tool, the method here is to relax the mind from the burden of societal conditioning and the mind, the voice that beats us up in our head. That's all. So with the last few golden lighting breaths, imagine your whole body and mind starts to fill up with acceptance, with peaceful, really kind, gentle acceptance. And to have compassion, because imagine the amount of verbal abuse these thoughts have given you. can feel tenderness for ourselves, the amount of self-criticism we've dished out to ourselves. It's incredible. And we don't have to be anything. We don't have to be good at this or bad at that or all these different things. We are what we are who we are. It's all worthy of unconditional love. You are worthy of unconditional love. I'm worthy of unconditional love. Now, just gently bring your awareness to your breathing. Allow it to come in, allow it to go down to your throat and your lungs and back out again. Completely let yourself off the hook. Just breathe and be. Just be as you are and breathe. Bringing the awareness into the nostril linings. Notice the cool and the warm. And now we bring our awareness to the very rims of the nostrils. We notice the cool sensations and the warm sensations as we breathe in and out. And if and when our mind goes away and comes back, we find these again. Again, there's no shoulds and have tos and muds in meditation. Must in meditation. We just trust the process. Bring your mind back to these sensations at the rims of the nostril each time. Let any thoughts associated with your practice just go and relax. All those societal norms were fabricated, and you were judged and criticized against them, or you worried about criticism against them. Keep checking every now and again for the next couple of minutes that you're still doing it. Rest deeply. And before we come out of this meditation, we can dedicate the piece we've created to our own self-kindness. We think, may everyone be kind to themselves. May everyone be gentle and compassionate and forgiving, including ourselves. And then, when it feels comfortable, and there's no rush at all, when it feels comfortable, just gently allow your eyes to open. Thank you. So the next part 2, as it were, is very similar. It's letting ourselves off the hook in a slightly different way. If we check, there's 8 billion people struggling right now. There's 8 billion people struggling. There's 8 billion people dissatisfied. There's 8 billion people frightened. Probably most of them not quite sure why they're frightened, but there's this level of fear. Fear of being found out, but not sure why, what they're going to be found out about. People who fear men, people who fear women, people who fear loss of earnings, people who can't sleep, people who have physical illness, people who have mental illness. Society presents, and magazines and the media present this idea that we should all be somehow this perfect thing. And if we're not, we need fixing, and we need to strive to become this perfect thing. If we do 100 experiments of something and all 100 come out with a certain result, we have some conviction in that. There's 8 billion experiments right now. None of them are achieving what we're told we should be achieving. So surely we have to start questioning what normal is. We have to start questioning what's possible, what's reasonable, what's okay. Now, I say there's a mental health crisis. There's no mental health crisis. There's what there is. Most people, most of us, struggle mentally. It's part of human nature. We're not wrong or bad or a bit rubbish or broken. Most people's bodies aren't working properly. This body doesn't come with like a 10-year guarantee, and if anything breaks on it, we send it back because it should work perfectly. There's no guarantee on it. It doesn't work perfectly. Everybody's body works imperfectly. Cars break down. Things around houses break. Bodies break. Phones break. Fences blow down. Rivers flood. Earthquakes happen. Tsunamis happen. The media make out that these things are catastrophically bizarre, that somehow this earth shouldn't be like this, and that it's crazy when it does. Just Just, that's what we're in. It's what we're in. We're in this. And it's a bit shit. It's just a bit shit. And it's shit for everybody. But there's some media people going, no, it's not, is it? It's not. You're just a bit rubbish. You're just a bit rubbish. It's a bit shit for you. Excuse my French. I think it deserves it because it's incredible. Got magazines with perfectly bodied men and women on the front with whitened teeth, veneers, and pretending that they're absolutely loving the fact that all they do walk around all day as famous people is people hold the camera in front of them. They don't see anyone anymore because they're famous, and all that happens is they look out and 20 people are just pointing a camera at them and filming them, pretending that that's great, worrying about their reputation and that their jewels might get stolen. All struggling. None of it's working. It all breaks, it all falls apart. And within it is all the love and joy and compassion and fun and beauty and all the rest of it. But it's like we're struggling in a hedgerow to have a good night's sleep. It's like we're walking around the coast of Britain and we're bedding down for the night without a tent. We're just in a bit of a sleeping bag in some bushes. And we roll over and it's uncomfortable. And we find a little bit of a comfortable spot and we have a bit of a sleep for a bit. And then we wake up because we've moved over and it's prickly. That's what life is. None of the 8 billion people are having any other different experience. Sometimes it's more prickly than others. Sometimes it's less prickly. But we don't hover when we go to bed at night, walking the coastal path without we can't hover over the grass. We can't hover through life. It's not what life is. And so we can let ourselves off the hook with our expectations. There's a whole wellness industry. In the 20th century, an industry, personal development, self-help grew up. Apparently it grew up because all the marketing people in America who were trying to develop capitalism and commercialism, consumerism, materialism, weren't able to sell to the hippies. And they needed to create a market within hippiedom. So they created personal development, self-help courses, events, experiences, more courses and experiences and things to sell. And you only sell those if you convince people they've got a problem. They're not good enough. 1880, people didn't wring their hands going, oh, I'm not good enough at time management. I need to have my wellness more in check. To do that, it's created. Created by the money men, created by the PR people, the sales people. And we don't question it anymore. But we can question it. And we can relax by recognizing it is what it is. Let ourselves off that hook. Not worry so much that we're not meeting some sort of ideal because it's bogus. And this idea that if we can arrange the furniture of our life, we'll be just permanently happy. No, it's not true. The paradox with this is that we can develop contentment by accepting reality as it is. What we're doing is, if we buy into societal norms and marketing and advertising and the wellness idea, there's no wellness, there's just degrees of unwellness. That's what there is. If you sit like this now for long enough, your back will ache. It's the natural state of the body. The only reason your back's not aching is you keep moving. We keep moving away from achiness. We don't sit there long enough and we just become supple as a baby. It's not the way the body is. If you sit there long enough awake, you'll get tired, you'll fall asleep. The body needs to get exhausted all the time. So we can ease into this and we can relax and realize that We're normal, whatever normal is, we're normal. We're all right. We're trundling along in a way that's a bit prickly, a bit in the, in the hedgerow, it's a bit prickly. Sometimes it's quite stingy. Sometimes it's pleasant. Sometimes the sun comes out and we can smell the daisies. And by embracing reality, our mind settles down. I'm not suggesting we don't keep fit and look after our mental health and all these other things. But you fix your fences, you're going to blow down again in 5 years' time. We go, oh, my fence is blown down. That's what they do. Fences are blown down all over the place. We can go, oh, fence is blown down. It's going to happen sooner or later. We'll come out shocked. Right, we'll do a little meditation on this. If you want to get yourself comfortable. So this meditation is about having rational, reasonable, evidence-based expectations of life and what it can provide and what it can be. It's not morose, it's not nihilism, it's not despair. It's observing 8 billion or so test cases, and they're just like us. If we went out into the street and asked somebody how they are, they'd say, well, I'm good, thank you. They're not. They're not good. Scratch the surface, they're not good. And there's this huge mass collusion. If we were all honest about how we are and the PR people stopped, it would let us all off the hook. There'd be a lot more compassion, there'd be a lot less guardedness, and we'd see things as they were. So I'd like you to just relax and think at the moment, what expectations do you have for yourself that are unreasonable based on reality? Or in other words, what ideal do you feel burdened by that you can let go of? And what else? What do you judge yourself about? What is your story of your life? What are the judgments in your story of your life where you tell yourself you've not been good enough against some totally unreasonable myth of life? can just rest and know that we are struggling along like everybody else. We have our challenges, our difficulties, our health problems, our mental problems, our emotional problems, our physical problems. And some days are good and some days aren't so good. And we can embrace all of it as a vehicle for contentment gradually and steadily. Let ourselves off the hook. So you're not a good person, a bad person, a superior person, an inferior person. You're here. That's the reality, is you're here. We strip everything away that everyone lays on us, and our own mind lays on us. We take it all away because it's all just ideas and myths and stories and projection and PR and advertising and societal ideas. We take it all away. We're just here. And we're just here trying to find some peace. So what a wonderful way to spend an hour. Stepping out of all of it and just relaxing our mind. And if tonight didn't go very well, that's okay. That's just also a should and must and have to. We can let go of that as well. So thank you for joining in tonight's class, and hope you have a peaceful sleep. Right. I'll just thank you.